Good evening, Des Moines. Welcome to the Doc and Lefty program, broadcasting to you from the studio at webcast1live.com. It is a balmy 72 degrees. I am Lefty, and we're bringing you the perspectives you love from the side you hate. And with me, going in one way, coming out another, Dr. Bertroche. Doc, what's up?
You know, I'm going to try this little trick one of my smaller patients taught me today.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Cleans out your ears. That's what he told me.
Oh, see, you know.
So, you know, there's, I have all kinds of fun at the office. That's for sure.
It doesn't brainwash you and make you more liberal? If you clean out your ears?
I cleaned out, only if I clean out the conservative stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I try to.
I got to think.
There's not really a rope in here. There's not. We're trying some reality testing with a liberal over here. There's no rope here. Really.
Hey, it's the spirit in which you were doing it. Doesn't matter what the facts are. The spirit in which you offered it. No, I gotta think that your conservatism and my liberalism is a lot like the plaque that builds up on the inside of our arteries. That's not going anywhere. For you, if you went to on like an all juice fast or something, it might start to reduce a little bit, but that might be too hippie. I don't know. I've been accused of being a hippie. Fallon says I look like a hippie all the time.
Whenever he introduces me, he goes, "Yeah, he looks like a hippie," but he isn't.
Well, that's it is funny when I've got court or something on a Tuesday, and I come and we have a guest. They don't know quite who to talk to.
Yeah.
I mean, but it throws them off even worse because we both have facial hair. Because the spots,
mine isn't conservative in any way.
No, it's not.
Mine is built to have beads in it.
Yep.
See? So when I'm riding my Harley down the road, it doesn't flop around on me.
Yep. And I'm a little unkempt. I've been in trial prep mode, futilely, I might add, futilely. The thing got bumped, but. When I the 4 or 5 days before trial, I don't really take care of myself very well. I will say that for sure. So anyway, how has the I want to apologize to everybody. I wasn't able to be here last week because of this trial. You see, this is what I told you when I was on the road, folks. I had a case up in Northeast Iowa and about 3 hours away, and last week. I had to drive up there to drop off some of the last minute filings, and Brother Joe, who I know is listening, will know what I'm talking about. I had to drop off my last pretrial filings, last pretrial motions that were due, and I wasn't able to get them done in time. And in a non-e-filing county, if you don't trust the mail or don't trust the overnight to get it there on time, you got to drive up yourself. And so I was still about a half hour north of Des Moines at 6:30 when we were supposed to go on the air. I know that you weren't feeling very well, and so maybe
I had the flu last week.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had a client that came in that was sitting holding it back. Pretty so gross. Yeah, it was pretty disgusting. But I think that we're going to appreciate the time. We don't take very many breaks doing this show. I think we've done probably a handful in the almost 4 years that 3 years that we've been doing it. And so I think it's good because a lot's happened. There's a lot to talk about, and I'm fired up. I don't know about you. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. In fact, I was just going over our Facebook. We have a new friend.
Oh, yeah?
Grab this name, Vladimir Schmiegel. So I'm not sure if that's a real name or if it's something else. Good-looking guy, though.
Yeah.
The other thing, we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff today. We're going to be talking about Hillary, whether this is a big deal with the emails or not. We're going to be talking about. You're boom beaching over there.
Well, I gotta look at my phone, and that's what was on there.
Oh yeah, well, good. So we're going to talk about the ag conference this weekend, hosted by Bruce Rastetter, who single-handedly puts this thing together and gets all these people to show up, with the exception of Ben Carson. All these Republicans who are thinking about running for president. And everybody but Ben Carson shows up, and these people already have big name Republican movers and shakers behind them. That's pretty amazing. So we'll be talking about that. What was the other thing you wanted to talk about today?
I think we got to talk. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. We got to talk about. Actually, we can talk about Ben Carson. Got himself into a little bit of trouble.
He did,
and we can talk a little bit about. I don't know. We can talk. Well, we should probably talk about Netanyahu. What we need to probably do, as the Iranian nuke deal takes shape over the next few months is have our friend Rabbi Kaufman come back and talk about some of it. I know that you and he got into a little bit of a, not, I wouldn't say argument, but had a little exchange about folks calling Netanyahu a warmonger and what that might mean.
Yeah, a little bit on Facebook.
Yeah, just a little bit. So we can talk, kind of deconstruct some of that, and what you think the foreign policy implications. And I would really like to know, once we get to it, how would a Ronald Reagan have dealt with a foreign leader coming to Congress and trashing something he was working on? So that's, and I don't think that's an unfair characterization of what happened, because Netanyahu, I think, said more than a few times, this is a bad deal, even though there hasn't a deal been set out just yet.
There's not a deal yet.
So there's a lot to talk about.
Well, there is. Now you said you had some gigs this weekend?
Not this weekend, no.
Upcoming?
I got one in Washington, Iowa on the 28th. And
Iowa?
Yeah, my old buddy.
I thought you had one this last weekend. No?
No. I have one at the at Blue Moon in West Des Moines on Wednesday, the 18th.
Yeah, I wish I had a picture of Maddie, because she looks like she's just about ready to fall asleep.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, now she looks like she has a seizure.
Uh-oh.
So, anyway. Well, let's go ahead and dive into it, because we fell a little bit short on our introduction. You distracted me with the boom beach over there. Now, I want to start my own.
But let me ask you this question. What level are you?
I am 34 currently.
You're 30. See, I'm 32, and I'm not doing very well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I get beaten up all the time.
Well, you have to go one of two ways. You either have to put your castle out front so they can just take it, and then just make sure you don't have any resources, or you got to turtle up, and that's what I do. Which, you have to be several levels higher than me in order to get anything.
Yeah, that's been my problem.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, I take out a lot of people that are higher than me.
Yeah,
but
sometimes you stumble into somebody that
all the time.
It's just the nature of the game.
Yep.
So yeah, but it's a lot of fun. This is what happens when you play with kids. The name of our task force is Hot Dog Lol Face, or Hot Face Dog Lol, or something like that. Something dumb, like the kids do.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You can do task force. You can get together and do joint missions.
I tried. I think I kicked out of one because I didn't have anything to contribute. I think I got in too low.
Well, what's your name?
I don't think I have a name.
Well, no, you have that. Like mine's Pigbat.
It's just probably my B. Lubinus.
B. Lubinus?
Like everything else.
Well, maybe they kick you out because you don't have a good name, like Pigbat.
I don't know.
So, and it's a play on my nickname, Big Pat. Pigbat.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah. So, anyway, my nephews are the ones that labeled me with that name. Thank you very much. So, anyway, yeah, that's a lot of fun. So, yeah, you have to turtle up, or you have to just let your stuff get taken and focus more on your offense.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think what I'm trying to do, and the problem is you can't focus on your offense really. This is a scintillating conversation. I understand that we're just trying to fill time.
two nerds, two nerds nerding it up.
You can't just put your base out front and let it get taken all the time if you're trying to build up your boats. 'Cause my boats are
it's a tough decision.
Yeah.
Little Pat, that's what he does. He doesn't collect anything until he wants to build something. And then he collects it all, builds it, and then he just says, well, there you go. I'm the opposite. I build up slowly over time. And
same here.
Today I got taken on by a guy named Junior twice, and he didn't make it that far. The first time I have a rocket launcher that's hidden underneath the trees. If you play the game, you know what I'm saying. So the first time he came storming in there, rips through everything up front, and my rocket launchers just take him out. So the next time he takes out my rocket launcher, and he still didn't make it all the way.
You just don't have enough. You got to make choices.
Yep.
See, my favorite is to fill up all my boat with the little guys. So I have like 84 of the little guys. As long as there aren't a lot of the multi-kill people or multi-kill defenses around the base. If I can get my little guys in around the base, I just take out the base from behind. Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, now this is from my brother Joe. He wants us to talk about the real world. I'm going to tell you. Boom Beach is the real world.
Yep.
That's all there is to it. When you're playing, you're in there. Secondly, and this is going to maybe offend some people out there. They didn't nickname me the Gay Wad. That's your nickname. Okay. I'm Pigbat, you're Gay Wad.
Oh, man.
Anyway,
man.
We're going to have a better show than this, I promise, folks. When we get back, we're going to talk about the Ad Council. It was a lot of fun, put on by Bruce Ratstetter. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I want to thank all of our sponsors, Bertrosian Associates, Lubinas Law Firm, Des Moines, Halo Capital, Des Moines Interest Rates, Des Moines Anesthesia PC at 515-574-6442. Please follow us at Facebook, Twitter, and follow us online at docandlefty.com. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back right after this break.
That's right.
Bertrosian Associates, how can I help you?
Bertrosian Associates will provide you with a friendly, caring, and confidential place to find help for mental health concerns. We are ready for your call. Our doctor, Dr. J. Patrick Bertroche, provides a full range of psychiatric services for children, adolescents, and adults in a forthright and informative manner while maintaining a casual, comfortable, and relaxed atmosphere.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around for that first segment of, I don't know, unmitigated hilarity is what I would probably call that.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to have to interrupt.
Yeah.
My brother, this is a brotherly war that's going on over the air. I am not Patty the Weasel. You are Joey the Weasel. I'm Patty Cowboy Martin. That's all I got to say. Go ahead, Blake.
You know, it is unfair that you're using this platform to just kind of slander your... Well, it's not slander if it's true. That's, you know...
You know what? I'm going to tell you. Somebody told me, and I believe it was Darrell Carney from the Polk County Republicans, never get into a fight with somebody who uses ink on a daily basis.
Yep.
There you go.
That's good advice.
What it is.
Now, we are joined with a guy. We put out there on the website, and we were advertising for the show that we were going to have special guest Representative Rob Taylor from my old district. And I say old district because I moved a couple of years ago, but Representative Taylor, I can't remember the number of the district.
House District 44.
House District 44. Rob Taylor is here spending some time with us. Certainly do appreciate you out here, Representative. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Now, when I say my old representative, I used to live out in the Waukee area, and so we've had Senator Senator Charles Schneider on the show a while back. I can't even remember when it was. Now we have Representative Rob Taylor, so we are taking care of business from the west side. We have friends of the show, Brad Zahn and Tom Shaw. So I think one of these days...
But Tom's from the northwest side.
Oh, far northwest.
Side.
I gotta say, one of these days we're gonna get a Democrat in here that's not
going to be afraid of one of us.
Well, I don't know. The Iowa Democrats. I'll tell you what. I don't. You deal with them more often than I do, Rob. I mean, I'm lefty. I'm the lefty of the show, right? And so I have met Democrats in Iowa. I don't know that they think too much of me. What is a good profile of a Democrat that you work with here in the...
I'm probably not the right guy to ask, being that I have an R after my name. I can't...
But you don't get that distance? You don't get that perspective?
No, I don't get that perspective. It is not very rational or logical at times, but, being a fiscal conservative myself, we just had a passionate debate on the House floor today with Democrats, by the way, on zero-based budgeting principles. That bill passed the House of Representatives on a partisan vote. And frankly, from my perspective, coming from private sector, that's a pretty common sense bill. But the Democrats just, for whatever reason, didn't understand it. It's because they felt more than they thought.
Well, let's get into that then. We were going to talk a little bit about the Ag Council from last weekend, but let's get into some of the legislation that you've been working on first, if that's okay with you.
Oh, yeah, sure. We can hit the gas tax. That's all right.
Yeah.
Because as I recall, you voted against the gas tax.
Yeah, I was a big fat no on the gas tax.
Yeah, and so it's one of the things that has been a battle cry of the fiscal conservatives on the right is, well, first, we lost a bunch of Republicans. They went nuts on that. And the second thing is Republicans can raise taxes faster than any Democrat. And so I guess the thing
It's
is
because the Democrats are always with him. If the Democrats want to raise taxes, we got to fight the Republicans every step of the way, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. So is because of the nature of this, and there's a lot of political politicking going on, particularly by Craig Paulson.
Yeah.
Is there any ongoing damage that he's having to take care of? I mean, is there like, a vote of confidence to get rid of Craig Paulson, anything like that? Or are most people just going as business as usual moving on?
Let me say a couple of things. First of all, Speaker Paulson is a friend of mine, and I have respected him a great deal as a leader the last, this will be my third year in my second term. But at the end of the day, the Speaker's point of view, I think, was that when you looked at the Republican caucus on the House side, we had a majority in the House, Republicans, that wanted that bill to come to the House floor and wanted to debate the bill. So as a leader, I will defend Paulson in his actions in the fact that he did a couple of things. First of all, it said that he removed 2 members. He did. He removed 1 member or replaced it with what was a known vote. But the other thing that I respect from a leadership perspective is he put himself in that own gauntlet as well. He put himself in that Ways and Means committee, and he took a yes vote, and he's going to have to take the pressure for that. And just strictly as a leader, not from a partisan perspective, from a leadership perspective, that's an admirable quality. That said, I was a solid no, and I've been a solid no on the gas tax from the very beginning, just because I think it's a $1 billion Band-Aid. It doesn't fix anything. All we did was continue to kick that now $1 billion can down the road.
Well, one of the things that I promised a couple of our listeners I would ask today, apparently, and I don't know if this is true, but apparently there's at least a rumor, and it may be fact, that $250,000 of the new money is going to be slated for a statue on one of the bike trails. Do you know anything about that?
I don't, because I don't set on Ways and Means. I set on appropriations. But what I can tell you is my perspective on the gas tax. At the end of the day, the premise behind it was flawed from the very start because it didn't solve any problems. All it did was raise taxes. Some argue 40%. Some people say as close to 50%, depending on how you figure that. At the end of the day, it was a substantial tax increase to the taxpayers of Iowa that didn't solve any problems. So I was working behind the scenes with the governor's office, with our leadership, also with Senate minority of saying, listen, and my background is I'm a former diesel mechanic, so I thought from my perspective... I
could use one of you.
Yeah, well, yes. I know a few.
Please come over, I need help.
So here was the analogy that I used when we talked in our caucus. I said, guys, here's the deal. The truck is in the shop right now. And if you look from a trucker's point of view, you got a truck that's in there that needs an in-frame overhaul of the engine. The transmission's got 2 gears out of it. All the air brakes are bad, and it needs tires all the way around. So our gas tax was in the shop. We had an opportunity to do a thoughtful overhaul from top to bottom, just like we would on a truck, or we had to walk away from it. And from my perspective, there was no options. There was no temporary fix. If we were going to raise the taxes on people to that level, then we need to be able to justify it with thoughtful solutions. For example, when we're talking about the road formula, at the end of the day, the way the current formula sets, a number of folks that have analyzed that current budget practices, less than 10% of that $1 billion that we just raised is going to rural infrastructure, roads and bridges, is where it needs to be first. So my point was, if we're going to raise taxes, we need to talk about redoing that formula, either reverting back to the old formula of the 1990s or revising it so that we can get that money where it's needed first. The other thing that I talked about was...
we're going to have to break right there. We're going to be back with Representative Rob Taylor, who we're very excited to have on the show tonight. We're going to continue our discussion about gas taxes, and we're going to continue on with some local politics, and which would include the Ag Council this weekend. Again, it's Representative Rob Taylor. He's from the 44th House District out in West Des Moines. Isn't that out
That's
there?
correct. Dallas County, West Des Moines, Waukee, and Clive.
Oh, my goodness. So we'll be back right after this break. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back right after these messages.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places, especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart, and it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. We're here with guest Representative Rob Taylor of House District 44, my old stomping grounds here in the Des Moines area. I mean, I'm originally from Northwest. See, I've been growing up, and I was born in South Dakota. I grew up in rural eastern Iowa, and then went to school in Northwest Iowa. So I've been around red territory my entire life. Then lived in Representative Taylor's district for a long time. So, Representative, we were talking about the gas tax, and you had a second point that you wanted to make, but I wanted to just kind of jump in. You talk about the formula. I was going to ask you about your alternatives. One that I've heard from a lot of people is to mess with the formula, number one. Number two was spending wisely. You're talking about an overhaul of the gas tax. Was there any political will, any movement on doing the structural fixes that you were advocating for in session?
I think there was, but I think that the gas tax has been around for so many years that, frankly, I think we got pushy and rammy with it to get it through. And my premise when I practice politics is just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I think this was a perfect example of just because they could, they did, and we increased taxes on all of Iowans. You know, we went from the top 5 most reasonable states, I think it was the top 10 most reasonable states in the United States when it comes to gas tax, to the top 5 most expensive states in the United States when it comes to fuel tax.
We've talked to a few people about this. We talked to Senator Zahn about this when he was here a few weeks ago. This is a Republican governor who was back behind this. I heard that you talked about you were working with the governor's office. Now, I know that you're not going to get into the specifics, and we don't want to air out the personal discussions and the behind-the-scenes work that you were doing, but can you give our listeners a general sense of why Governor Branstad's office was pushing this so hard if it was such an obvious bad idea for the state? Because
I think that, and I'm just talking from my perspective. In no way, shape, or form am I talking for the governor's office.
Absolutely.
So only my perspective is that we were at all-time low prices, at least in the last 5 or 6 years on gas. We had just got to the point where it was about $1.84 a gallon in gas and $2.39, I think, for diesel, if I recall. So from an opportunity standpoint, I think there was an opportunity to raise the taxes while fuel is low so that people wouldn't feel it at the pump. The reality of that and why that's flawed is twofold. At the end of the day, another reason why I was opposed to the gas tax is because at the end of the day, it impacts our lowest income people the most. I mean, people literally are choosing between filling their bellies, filling their prescriptions, or filling their tanks with gas. And I couldn't, in good conscience, as a fiscal conservative, put that pressure back on our people. I just don't think that's fair. So I looked for alternative models. I said, listen, at the end of the day, I was going to be a no. I've been transparent with that from the very start. But if they were still going to go down this road, I was looking for solutions of redoing the funding model. The other thing that I was looking at was taxing off-road or dyed diesel fuel and taking that funding and redirecting it back to rural infrastructure, roads and bridges, and that was opposed as well. So at the end of the day, what became transparent to me was that it was going to happen, 10 cents across the board, get it done, and move on.
Looks like we have a call. All right. Hang on a second. Go ahead and grab those headphones. I can't hear anything, so I'm...
that's all right. I'll translate for you, Doc. So, caller, are you on the air?
Yes, I am.
Hey, who are we talking to?
It's Larry Seiler.
Hey, Larry, how are you doing?
Not too bad.
Good. You got a question for the representative?
Well, I've actually been trying to watch it, but I can't get any sound out here in the country. There,
Oh, man.
internet's not good enough, so I can see you guys moving, but I can't hear what you're saying.
Well, I think that's that's in that Governor Branstad's next plan is to expand internet to the rural counties.
No, I think it's just that I'm so ugly that I broke the camera.
Oh man, don't sell yourself short. Don't.
Hey, it takes both of our faces every day. And
It's true. Well, but see, maybe we're putting to the limit. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'm
Larry,
blessed with everybody that has facial hair here.
Yeah,
so.
there you go.
right?
Larry, are you listening on a tablet or an iPad?
I've actually got it on my laptop trying to get it to come in, and I've hit all the different volume controls, and it just won't turn on the volume.
Oh man.
Oh man. Well,
It's kind
Maddie,
of
fix that.
opposite, they always talk about having radio faces, but I can see you guys, but I can't hear you. So we have TV
Well,
faces.
that's usually the best show.
Yeah, that's.
That's our highest rated shows. Nobody can hear us.
We certainly do apologize for that. Well, Larry, I'm sorry that you're not able to hit the live stream. We've got it'll be on YouTube here after the broadcast, but we're here with Representative Rob Taylor from West Des Moines, Clive, and Waukee. Do you have a question for the representative?
Well, I had made a comment earlier on Facebook.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I saw Doc talking about it, and the fairly conservative people are talking about how this gas tax is such a terrible deal. But out here in the country, being a farmer, our roads and our bridges are getting so terrible, and we worked on this thing for years, trying to figure out how to fix our infrastructure. And the infrastructure is one thing I consider is a government responsibility. And just having the gas tax, which is a protected stream of money, and I realize there's a formula. It doesn't all come to our counties, and they can kind of do what they want. A certain percentage goes to the DOT, and a certain percentage comes out here. But we're in such desperate straits out here that we really needed that money. And it looks to me like I'm in Franklin County, and I think we're going to get a little over $800,000. That helps us a lot. It makes a difference. Well,
Larry, I know you're a farmer, and we've tread some of the same ground across the world, so I know that. Would you, being a farmer, would you support taxing the diesel and the off-road gas that you use that isn't currently taxed? Would you support something like that as a farmer?
Well, the way I understand it is everybody wanted to tax our colored fuel that we use while we're on the road. But the problem is most of our fuel does actually get used out in the field. If you could figure out a way that it would be traceable to what I used on the road, I would be more than willing to do that.
Well, as a matter of fact, that was a similar proposal that I had laid out in cooperation with some of my other conservative colleagues. While I represent an urban district, I grew up on a farm in Osceola. My parents and grandparents had a 685-acre farm just south of Osceola, and then I had the benefit of going to school in Des Moines and then farming at nights and weekends in Osceola. So I understand both sides of the perspective. What my proposal was, it's Larry, right?
Yes.
Larry, what my proposal was just simply this, that we tax off-road fuel, not to the level that we would on-road fuel. And frankly, the number that was thrown around that I thought was pretty doggone reasonable was a nickel per gallon. And at the end of the day, the money raised there moves back into the constitutionally protected road fund, but all of the funding raised goes back to rural roads and bridges, or rural infrastructure. And my point was simply this. When I was growing up, our main farm tractor was a John Deere 4430. So that John Deere and the roads and bridges and infrastructure around our farm was designed to maintain the weight of that John Deere 4430. The stuff that we've got running on roads today is pretty doggone heavy stuff. I mean, granted, it's high flotation tires and tracks, but when you're on a road, when you're on a hard structure, those tires are doing a great deal of damage to those roads. So my point was simply this. Why don't we tax off-road fuel at a lesser degree, but make sure that funding goes back to rural infrastructure? And of all the people that were completely opposed to that, wouldn't even have dialogue, Farm Bureau, I talked to them till I was blue in the face, and they absolutely would not even consider that at this point.
All right. Well, Larry, can you hang around for a little bit?
Sure can.
All right. Well, my brother says if you go click on Ustream on there, that you can get a lot better rate. We want to thank all of our sponsors, Petrosha Associates, Lubinas Law Firm, Halo Capital at Des Moines Interest Rates, Des Moines Anesthesia. Keep in mind they do pain management as well as anesthesia at 515-574-6442. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and at docandlefty.com because Lefty has promised us a couple of blogs, and he's usually good at delivering 6 months down the road.
Like a bomb.
Like a bomb. We'll be back right after this break.
Petrosha and Associates will provide you with a friendly, caring, and confidential place to find help for mental health concerns. We are ready for your call. We are proud to work with military personnel and their families. Our doctor, Dr. J. Patrick Petrosh, provides a full range of psychiatric services for children, adolescents, and adults in a forthright and informative manner while maintaining a casual, comfortable, and relaxed atmosphere. Our licensed mental health therapists provide individual counseling to children, adolescents, and adults, including couples and marital counseling. Visit our website at petroshandassociates.com for more information or call 515-334-9484. Our offices are located at 5525 Meredith Drive in Des Moines, just east of Skate North off Merle Hay Road. Isn't it time to talk to someone? Take care of yourself and your family. Contact Petrosh and Associates.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around the first half hour. As always, when we have a good guest and a good conversation, I look at the clock and the first half hour is gone, and I wonder, did I talk that much? Am I really
no, actually,
just...
Rob talked that
much.
Well,
no, and we appreciate that because I guarantee folks are more interested to hear about hear what you have to say, Representative, than either one of us. I mean, we love to hear ourselves talk.
Well, we were finishing up with making the farmers pay more in gas tax, and we have Larry Saylor on the line, who is a farmer and a good Republican man, and has gone over to Ukraine to do farming things. And, so one of the comments you made is, do we really want to have roads like Ukraine, which is true. So, Larry, I guess I get back to, would you support a proposal where, because you guys are the ones that need it the most, are you willing to pay more in tax to have your infrastructure improved back there? I mean, not as much as the rest of us, but your infrastructure.
Well, I think we're already paying quite a bit. It's not like just because these tractors don't get taxed on the diesel that goes in the tractors, we're already paying property taxes. We've got bonding that's being done up in these counties up here to try to keep things at least in halfway decent shape. So it's not like we're not paying anything as we go along. The biggest problem with taxing the dyed fuel, if you do it for farmers, there's a lot of this other construction stuff that goes up and down the roads too. So, it's got to be fair is fair, I guess. But if there was a way to figure it out that would be fair, I certainly wouldn't be against that. But you also have to consider all this other money, all these other taxes that we're actually putting into it. I would think that we should look more at keeping those grain buggies and some of that different type of equipment off of the roads.
Well,
grain buggy can go down the road, but the grain shouldn't be in the grain buggy. You move it from field to field, and usually the grain goes in a semi. It's pretty rare, actually, that a grain buggy would be full of corn or beans going down the road.
True, but we also have those honey wagons running down the road, too, that are doing a great deal of damage as well.
And we're actually switching over with honey wagons quite a bit more of the semis now, too, because those natural nutrients have got to actually move a little bit further to fertilize the fields that need to fertilize.
All right.
Well, there's
got to be some way to move this stuff without ruining the roads.
Well, and I think we all agree. The next question I want to ask, because this is a personal bee in my bonnet. You understand that all the bike trails and everything else that cost a total of $93 million or thereabout to put in, along with millions of dollars every year to maintain. Do you think that those items should be paid for by basically the gas tax, the road use tax?
No, absolutely not.
All right, what do you think?
There should be some other funding mechanism for that. I don't know if it's toll booths on those bike paths or registration of bicycles. There's got to be some mechanism that actually doesn't.
What do you think?
Come out with gas tax.
What do you think, Representative?
Well, unfortunately, we didn't have the opportunity to really discuss that at length. I think had we discussed it, I think that it would have come out that that bike trails are funded by road use tax. And from my perspective, I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but don't you think $93 million to improve the rural roads would be much better spent than on bike trails? That is, honestly, in Iowa, you're looking at maybe 6 months out of the year anybody would use them. Maybe, but you have a model across Iowa now that has become quite a model on avid bikers all over the state, especially in central Iowa. I mean, you go as close as Madrid, where you look at what the bicycle community does for Madrid. But
they're not paying for this. I mean, that's my point. They don't pay a road use tax. So don't you think it would behoove us to at least say, hey, you have to register and we can use that money to improve bike trails instead of taking money from rural counties?
You know, that's a good point, and it's not one that I would automatically take off the table, but we should have had a conversation about that. Yeah. You know, one last thing about the road use tax. I'm going to have a shout out to my colleague, Representative Walt Rogers. He had
yes, I like Walt.
Walt had a third proposal that we talked about in caucus. It was not considered, in which that a percentage of sales tax was state sales tax was automatically deferred to the constitutionally protected road use tax.
I think you and I both agree.
I love that idea.
Yeah,
I personally love that idea. Anytime that consumption, and this is a socialist liberal over here, anytime consumption can be diverted into some kind of necessary public works infrastructure, I'm for it, 100%.
Yes, well, because when Blake and I agree, we understand that the world stops just for a moment.
You can't cross the streams, buddy.
You can't cross the streams. We're going to move on to the Ag Council. Larry, did you go to the Ag Council this weekend?
Yes, I did. I was there.
Give me your perspective of that. Did you? From everything I heard, I thought that was number one. Did you go, Rob?
I didn't. It was my birthday this last weekend, and
happy birthday!
Thank you very much.
During the break, I'll make Lefty sing "Happy Birthday" to you.
Oh, please don't.
Oh, no, he can. He's great. He's a great singer. So, anyway, tell us your perspective on that, Larry. We got about a minute left here.
Well, I thought it was a great type of an idea to actually bring in all the candidates that would come in. I was a little disappointed we didn't get some of the other side of the aisle to come in, because I would love to hear what they think of foreign policy also. But just the fact that we got in the ones that we did, and we could ask them specific questions that pertains to a lot of what we do here in Iowa, I think would just a fantastic deal.
Who do you think?
I really enjoyed it.
Who do you think won the night? If there's a winner here, who do you think it would be?
Well, I would say that our Wisconsin governor, I thought, did a fantastic job. I like a lot of his ideas. I like his conservative ways. I was impressed with a couple others. Jeb Bush actually did a pretty good job. He's got some ideas that I don't like, but generally overall, he did a good job. There was a couple others. There was some came right out and actually opposed some of the things that we think will help ag in Iowa. But I'm not one. I don't pick out just one particular subject to make my decision on. I like to see the whole general package. So you just can't pick and choose just one item. It's kind of like this gas tax. There's so many other things that I would rather talk about than this one item. We've got so many people that are just hung up on one subject. So, but overall, you could get a feel when you see these candidates in person, and you can hear the tone of their voice and understand their passion for what they're talking about. I think was a big deal.
All right. Thanks a lot, Larry, for calling in. We really appreciate your input. We're here with Representative Rob Taylor from the 44th House District. We're going to be back right after this break. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. When we get back, we're going to talk more about the Ag Council.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Get away from us, you mean old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help!
Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray, we're saved! Consumer Credit, you're our hero!
If Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of America was your personal webmaster, Tom would filter out all bad debt emails. If Tom was your mailman, you'd never get any debt reduction junk mail. If Tom Coates was a lineman, he'd block any phone calls offering to reduce your credit card debt.
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America, and we're still your best choice for credit counseling. We're local, we're accountable, and we can do more. You make the call when the time's right for you.
When it comes to competition, there really is none for Consumer Credit of America.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming. I want to thank Larry for calling in. He had some good thoughts and I think a good discussion with the representative here. We're with House District 44 Representative Rob Taylor, representing West Des Moines, Waukee, Clive, parts of Urbandale?
Nope.
No Urbandale. Just
the Dallas County portion.
The Dallas County area. Okay, great. So, we're talking about the Ag Council from last weekend. Doc had some thoughts with Larry about that. And Representative, it was your birthday. You weren't able to go, but were you able to take anything away from the event?
You didn't get to sing happy birthday. You want to do it now?
No, I'm good.
All right.
I'm good.
I'm good too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He's one. I can tell you're one of those that it's over. Let's move on. We don't need to no more dwelling on the birthdays. You know, I'm that way myself.
Well, my wife had plans for me that she had done months in advance before the summit was even on the schedule. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to go. But I heard nothing but good things about all of the candidates. I thought there was thoughtful discussion. You know, I think in Iowa it's really important that potential nominees come to Iowa, look us in the eye, sit down and have a roundtable discussion about what their thoughts are on things, and we get to see the real person.
Yep.
I think that's important.
Now, and we're going to talk about one of those candidates here in a second, but one of the things that you hear some of the reporters talk about is that this was Bruce Rastetter's coming out party, that if anybody was the beneficiary of the success of the event. Now, I didn't follow, we didn't have anybody from the other aisle go to this thing because we don't have a presidential candidate yet on our side. we know who's running, but she's not running yet. So I don't think that she's in a position to do much of that national politicking at the moment. But Bruce Rastetter is one everyone's kind of a buzz about, that the power of his will brought all these candidates in, and he was really the one to kind of benefit the most from it. Can you handicap a Bruce Rastetter rise in politics to that extent at all?
Well, I think Bruce has been involved in politics both up front and behind the scenes for a number of years. I think that if anything, Bruce had the influence and the ability to put something together like this on short notice. But I think at the end of the day, all Iowans win in the fact that it brings national attention to Iowa and that we are truly the breadbasket of the world. Mm-hmm. So, and if I recall, I think Patty Judge was there and spoke as well this weekend. Is that correct? So
I believe that's right.
So hats off to Patty and hats off to Bruce for inviting her. I think that way you could see both sides of the perspective and how important agriculture is. So I don't think it's a Bruce thing. I think it's an opportunity to use a platform throughout while we're in this time frame of pre-caucuses to bring attention to Iowa.
Well, and let's just be fair. Bruce has spent a lot of time building the political base that he has. And it speaks to the volumes of work and the plain political juice that Bruce Rastetter has here in Iowa to be able to get, it was 6 candidates, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, to come in. So I guess the next question is out of all these very prominent Republicans, there's one that was missing. And so I would like to know why, I would like to know your involvement with Ben Carson's campaign, and 2, I'd like to know why he wasn't president.
Sure, great question. 2 reasons are actually I'll start out by my involvement. My wife and I are the co-chairs of the exploratory committee to see if Ben Carson is in fact going to run for president, to see if there's a movement there and there's funding from grassroots up to see if he's a viable candidate. Personally, I think that he is. I think he's an incredible candidate. He's unlike any other. The great thing about Dr. Carson is he's not a politician. And I think that whether you're Republican, Democrat, or as we know in the state of Iowa, the one that's growing the most is NPs or no parties, independents. Dr. Carson is not a politician. He has the ability to say things that other people can't say or won't say, and frankly, he's very transparent about his thoughts. Sometimes it gets him in trouble.
It does get him in trouble.
Well,
so hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
So why didn't he show?
Great question. The reason that he didn't...
Well, of course, I'm the host.
Of course. The reason he didn't show is because, remember, he's not a presidential candidate yet, and this Ag Summit came up on a fairly short notice, and he's already got speaking engagements on his books that he's had on the books for months and months and months. And Dr. Carson didn't feel like he should give up his commitments that he's had on the books for months and months and months on the short term to be able to give that up and come in and appear in Iowa. He didn't think that was...
He had a question.
Well, you talked about Dr. Carson getting himself... He got himself into a little bit of trouble, and when he was on CNN, you know what I'm going to talk about.
Sure.
It made national news. I'm not going to talk... We don't need to go into the specifics of it because everybody knows what it is, and I'm certainly not going to put you on the spot with respect to speaking for him or defending anything what he had to say, but here's what I'm curious about. So he made the comment that he made, and I think from... that sometimes we say things that we want to take back, or we realize when they're coming out of our mouths that maybe we shouldn't have said, or we should have phrased something differently. But on the right, as it relates to homosexuality specifically, you don't see a lot of the kind of the mopping up very much. Maybe that's an unfair characterization. That's just my opinion or my view of it. But he came out strong and said, look, I goofed up. I shouldn't have said what I said. I'm really, really sorry if I upset anybody. From homosexual, from LGBT issues specifically, I was personally surprised to see somebody from the right go that far in kind of taking back what he said. Could you maybe speak to that a little bit or kind of offer your perspective on some of that?
I don't think that I can speak for it because I'm not Dr. Carson.
Not speak for him, but just kind of what are your thoughts on his response and kind of the backlash?
I think that he had a visceral response. I think he had a transparent response. I think that given the opportunity to explain his thoughts a little bit more, I think he would have been a little more thoughtful and lengthy in his explanation as to the what's and whys. But what I think is admirable about him is that he did apologize. That is not a characteristic that you would find in politics as in a general rule.
And the one thing I want to, having been in a similar position, I want to point out that Ben Carson apologized and there wasn't this hue and cry from the left to get rid of him. I don't know if he got death threats or not, but he seemed to be able to get away with it when most politicians, if they make a misstep on the right, don't.
Well, but see, that's kind of the difference that I would note is that I don't know. I don't want to harp on the specifics of it necessarily because that's not why you're here. And I was curious to get your thoughts on what happened.
Sure,
but. What I noticed, the difference that I noticed is that generally on the right, and however you want to characterize that from your commentators like Rush Limbaugh or whoever, they don't apologize, they don't take things back, and so that's when the left starts to get really upset. Ben Carson came out and he said, "Look, I have my views on this. Doesn't change my central view of what I think about LGBTQ issues." But the thing that I said was shouldn't have said it, and I'm sorry if I offended anybody. And I think that's maybe why you saw the left kind of back off.
Yeah, the thing about Dr. Carson that has always impressed me is that he's one of the most thoughtful men that I've ever met in my life. And the great thing and what impresses me so much about him is the fact that he can back up, look at an issue, walk into a subject matter, for the most part, open-minded, and he defends the right for people to say things that are not popular. Even if he doesn't agree with them, he defends everyone's rights to be able to say what they think. Now, he'll debate you passionately about why he thinks the way that he does, but he, at the end of the day, can agree to disagree, walk away friends, and still be respectable. And in today's political world, it is either you agree with me, or if you disagree with me, you're my enemy, and that's unfortunate in the political environment of today.
We're here with Representative Rob Taylor from House District 44, right out on the west side, otherwise known as the cake eating part of Des Moines.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that either.
You're called cake eaters out there, apparently.
Oh, okay.
So anyway,
I prefer cupcakes. We have scratch cupcakes.
Oh my goodness!
Scratch
Oh my! Well, don't even get me started with those.
I like.
So
pie,
we're going to be back right after this break. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Bertroche and Associates will provide you with a friendly, caring, and confidential place to find help for mental health concerns. We are ready for your call. We are proud to work with military personnel and their families. Our doctor, Dr. J. Patrick Bertroche, provides a full range of psychiatric services for children, adolescents, and adults in a forthright and informative manner while maintaining a casual, comfortable, and relaxed atmosphere. Our licensed mental health therapists provide individual counseling to children, adolescents, and adults, including couples and marital counseling. Visit our website at bertrocheandassociates.com for more information or call 515-334-9484. Our offices are located at 5525 Meredith Drive in Des Moines, just east of Skate North off Merle Hay Road. Isn't it time to talk to someone? Take care of yourself and your family. Contact Bertroche and Associates.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for this last segment. We're in the home stretch, so Representative Taylor, the worst is over. Now you just coast into the end of it.
All we can think about is cupcakes.
That's you know
what's your favorite cupcake? That's a softball question.
Oh man, right over the heart of the plate.
Oh my gosh, probably the raspberry cupcake.
Those
at Scratch
are awesome. My business partner, whenever he's got Scratch did his wedding, I believe, or at least he did a tasting with them. And every time he goes out there, he brings back like 4 for the office. And when I say 4 for the office, 1 for he's in good shape, so 1 for him and 3 for me. That's kind of how it works.
Well, that's the way it works itself out. Oh, last week I had a drug rep bring in cookies from cupcakes from Small Cakes. She had 12 of them in there. Not a one of them made it home.
Yeah,
I just sat there and I actually had to have somebody drive me home because it was in a sugar coma.
You know, we're blessed in Central Iowa of all the foods that we've got. You've got Scratch. You've got these guys. You also have Creme Cupcake right down the road here.
Oh man!
Which not only do they have cupcakes, but they also have a mixologist that matches the drink with the cupcake. I mean.
Well, now we got to get back to work, which, is kind of sad because usually we love politics, but now we talk about cupcakes. I'm like,
I think that
we should start our own cupcake show.
We should probably, you know what, on the Doc and Lefty Cupcake podcast, we will get into everything that's coming soon in 2015. But so we had what, 6 candidates that came. We had Jeb Bush, we had to the Ag Council.
Yep.
We had Jeb Bush, we had Scott Walker, we had Rand Paul, we had Chris Christie, we had
Bobby Jindal.
Bobby Jindal was there, and
did you say
I
Walker?
said Scott Walker, I think.
Well, there's Jeb. Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham. Okay, Lindsey Graham. So now
from out of nowhere, Lindsey Graham.
Right. Now, we're not in the context of the Ag Council, Representative Taylor, but just in this early going, who on the Republican side, because Democratic side, Hillary Clinton has taken all the oxygen out of the room, even though she hasn't announced for anything. So we're just Democrats are kind of treading water. We saw how well that worked for Bruce Braley. So, but out of the early going on the Republican side, and we know that you're with Ben Carson, but who are some of the other candidates you're looking at who you think might give him a run for his money if he announces?
Frankly, I don't think we have a bad candidate. I think all of the potential nominees are really good candidates. They have different things in their wheelhouse. And the thing about Republican politics is who most aligns with all of our core values. I think that's yet to be said. That's part of a primary process.
And what's so funny to me about this is because it just shows you how fluid American politics are, even though it takes maybe a generation to kind of get this way. The Republican ticket, the last few election cycles, has reminded me so much of those 80s and 90s Democratic primaries and caucuses where there were all these candidates duking it out, trying to get one up on everybody else, and the Republicans were more lockstep, fall in line behind the next elder statesman of the party. And you're not seeing that this time around, I don't think. Do you think that's going to be a help in 2016, or do you think that sort of that old Republican model is going to kind of rear its head again?
I don't think the old Republican model is going to rear its head. I mean, if you just look at the candidates and their issues, they're diverse, and I don't think that you can put one candidate at the forefront of it and say they have everything that an ideal Republican voter would want. I think that as a party, I think we're going to have to bring unity to our party on who that nominee will be and who best represents us. And the interesting thing is sometimes the people that can win a primary are not the people that are the ones that can win a general election. And I think that that's not just a Republican thing. I think that's a Democrat thing, too. And I would even go so far as to say that Democrats are probably pretty concerned about Hillary Clinton as of this week.
So, well, along those lines, I have a question from one of our listeners. Do you think that Ben Carson can win in the Republican primary?
If I didn't, I wouldn't be his chair of his exploratory committee.
Okay, fair enough. We're going to go, I'm sure you know some of these people. We're going to go over a little bit who has gotten what political bigwig in their corner. I think the one who's sitting in the best position currently is Governor Scott Walker. He's a darling of the right. He's got the reputation as a union killer. He's survived 2 recall votes, vicious recall votes, and he has the full support of Senator Brad Zahn, longtime super duper friend of the show.
Yep.
And Dallas County Recorder, I think it's Dallas County Recorder, Chad Earhart.
Yeah, Chad Earhart and I are good friends. He's actually my campaign manager, so Chad and I are very close.
All right. So those are heavyweights right there. Jindal hasn't picked anybody up, as far as I know. Steve Dace is officially neutral, but he's appears to be very favorable to him. Ryan Rhodes, I'm sure you know him. He's political heavyweight in the Republican Party. He's supporting Ben Carson. Jill Ellsworth, who we've had on the show before.
That's true.
And she's she's always volunteering. She knows everybody. She's supporting, she's still kind of neutral, but she's leaning towards Ron Paul. And Katie Usry, do you know her?
I do.
And she's apparently not leaning, but is full on for Rand Paul.
Yeah.
So, right now, I think the person that's in the best position is Scott Walker. I think the person in the second best position, once he finally decides to go, is going to be Ben Carson. Now, this is the first time we've met. I've been pretty, this is a refreshing break.
Thanks.
Right? Come in here, talk, because, it beats the hell out of talking to Lefty.
I am a jerk.
Yes.
It is a well-worn, very obvious secret.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing we know about Ryan is he's determined and he is dogged. And so I think if everybody does everything right and there's no scandals like sexting, like this guy over here I just read on, did for you don't have any scandals like that. You don't sext
not that I'm aware of. No.
All right, good. So well, you got to ask.
I don't think you do. I think we I think we could have avoided that one.
Maddie sent me a little text and I want you to ask that.
Oh, okay.
So we'll blame her. So anyway, one of the things that is also making me think that Walker is getting the people he needs to get into position. Governor Huckabee really, he just narrowly missed it against John McCain in 2008.
Yeah.
And I think that if he would have run in 2012, he'd have been in a better position. He's said some controversial things since then, Governor Huckabee has, especially with Common Core.
Yeah.
And apparently Eric Wilson, who was his caucus director, where he did so well in Iowa, has left to go to Walker's.
Yeah,
that's the rumor I hear. I don't know if you know, but it's from a very reliable source. So I'm sitting here thinking, Scott Walker is really picking people up. So what do you think about that? How do you think Ben's going to counter that?
I think Governor Walker has been a great governor, and I think that he'd make a great presidential nominee. I have my own reasons why I think Dr. Carson is better, only because I think that the time is ripe for somebody to not have a political background or have been a politician. I think the American public, for the most part, Democrats, Republicans, and again, that growing independent crowd, they're sick of politicians. They want somebody that is a real person that comes from private sector, and the impact of the ACA that we've all felt in the last several years, a couple things good and an awful lot bad. It's impacted every aspect of our life. Part of the reason why I signed on to Dr. Carson is because I firmly believe that the person at the top, who's the President of the United States, has got to understand the full impact of the ACA from all angles. And the only person that's on the potential presidential candidate that understands that is Dr. Ben Carson.
I would agree with that assessment. You need somebody who understands the medical system in order to be able to reform it correctly. That's the end of our show. I want to thank you, Representative Taylor, for coming in. We really appreciate your time. I know you're busy with all kinds of stuff over there at the Capitol.
Thank you both for having me today.
Yeah, see, and he's Lefty isn't nearly as scary as what everybody thinks. I wish we could get some lefties on here because I'm not all that scary.
No. In fact, you have a better reputation with them than I do.
Oh, well, let's hope.
That's because you have a reputation with them.
That's right.
So,
well, a couple of things I need to say before we sign off. One, I don't need a bicycle. I've had several people say I have an unnatural hate of bicycles. I don't, but I still don't need one. Number two, I hope to see you soon, Katya and Dasha. It's your Uncle Pat. They always like that. Sorry. So take us on out.
Hey, well, we do certainly want to thank Representative Taylor for being here. We want to thank our great producer and the person spinning the dials for us, Maddie Kane, and thank you to webcast1live.com for the studio.
DJ Maddie G.
All of our sponsors. You can check us out at docandlefty.com, Facebook, Twitter. If you want to get a hold of Representative Taylor, he is very active on Facebook, always posting pictures and comments about the legislative session and the work that he's been doing. And also, I understand that you're a little bit of a basketball fan.
I am a Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
You got a little bit of a Kansas vibe.
I am. I've got a little bit of guff once in a while because I'm the only Iowa State legislator that wears a KU tie on the Iowa House floor.
That's okay. Anytime you can tweak those Cyclones as a Hawkeye, I think that's just fine. How far are your boys going to go in the tournament?
Oh boy, hopefully all the way. Mm-hmm. Hopefully all the way. I want my daughter to cheer to the very end. So
all right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And Doc, I'll probably see you next week. What do you think?
Yeah, see you next week. We'll come up with something. We'll probably talk a little bit about Hillary and the rest of it. So I also want to wish the Woodward boys basketball team a lot of luck.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Hi, I'm Representative Tom Shaw, and I love these guys. Both of them.
Love these guys. Get over here. Love both of them.